Hello guys, today I will be talking to you a little bit about why I decided to get my Mirena IUD removed, what the process was like to get it removed, and why I waited almost a full year to decide that it is time to get this thing out. So to give you a little bit of a backstory, I do have a son who's a little over a year old, and at first I decided to go with the depot shot, and I went with it. It was either somewhere between 6 to 8 weeks old, that how old my son was when I decided to get on it. And I decided simply to get on it because it had done well for people in my family, so I figured, it did well for them, it should do well for me. I really don't have that many side effects when I usually take medicine, so I didn't think about, the bad side effects really affecting me, but they definitely did affect me. My moods were so crazy up and down. It was worse than pregnancy. My emotions were so unstable. I bled the entire 3 months that I was on it, and it was just a horrible time. It was a whole lot of blood, and I was already anemic to begin with, so I was super exhausted. I just had so many different side effects that came with that one. So I decided, you know what, I'm not getting a second one. I know that they say the more you get, the least the side effects go, but I'm not up for this. And I was reading a whole lot of other things about the depot shot and why you should not get it, as well as my doctor kind of advised against it, but she said, if that's what you want, I'll go ahead and give it to you, but I do not suggest it. It does cause a lot of things. Weight gain is very common, which I definitely noticed because before I had my son, I could drop weight literally like that, and then once I got on the shot, I had dropped weight, and then once I got on the shot, like, my weight literally just was like this. Like, I could maintain my weight, but losing my weight was just a nightmare. Like, nothing I was doing would make me lose the weight. So my doctor suggested the first time when I got the depot shot that I check into the IUD, but I told her absolutely not. I'd seen a whole lot of horror things, of course, like on Facebook and stuff. And so I did a little bit of research, and I decided to only read positive reviews about the Mirena. Yeah, that was probably the worst thing to do. I do advise when you are going on a new medication or you're getting some type of surgery done, implantation, anything like that done, I do advise that you not only read the positive reviews but also read the negative reviews, because I tell you, I decided to tune all the negatives out and go with the positives, and that was definitely the wrong choice. So I knew some people that had the IUD, and they of course loved it. They raved on about how great it was, but I of course did not have that same experience with it at all. So I got the IUD put in right before I was supposed to get my second depot shot, and the insertion was horrible. Part of that I just attributed to me still being sore from having my son, which I didn't think was very normal, but my hormones were still really whacked out, and I just thought, maybe I'm taking a little bit longer to heal than most people are. And so I got the IUD. My doctor did say that I would have some cramping, I would have some spotting, and my hormones should be regulated within 3 to 6 months or so. So not only was the insertion not comfortable, but I literally bled like crazy. Like, I was having a period afterwards for about 2 or 3 days, and then the bleeding completely stopped. So I thought, my doctor did say that periods do tend to stop or shorten, and that was one of the reasons I decided to go with the IUD, which was completely wrong in my case. And so I was now on the IUD for almost a year, and I was still experiencing just random pains in my, uterine area and my cervix area, and I'm like, what's going on? I don't think this is something from my son's birth, because I wasn't having these problems, before I got put on the birth control. And then as well as that, just everything was going downhill. My moods were still a little crazy. I would have periods for 2 weeks at a time, and then sometimes they would come back within 2 weeks, sometimes they would come back within a month. Nothing was regular, and I was used to a very regular cycle before I had my son, so that was a big adjustment for me. My acne was just all over the place, crazy, and there are several other factors that just were not working for me. And so I tried to talk with one of my doctors, and she said, I don't think that might be your birth control. You might just have a hormone imbalance, or you might have this, or you might have that. And so she advised me, to just eat very, very healthy, try to get my hormones in check, try to get my sleep in check, and everything else. Maybe I needed to go on a certain medication for my mood stability, because after you have kids, your moods can be a little wonky in that postpartum period. And so I thought, I don't want to get on another medication. I don't want to do anything extra. I'm going to continue to eat healthy and see if this goes away. And it did not go away. It did not go away. But I decided to stick with it, and I said, you know what? I know it's been after 6 months, but I'm still going to try for another month or two and see if anything changes. And I would have periods where a few days would be good days and nothing. I wouldn't feel anything. My moods would be stable. My acne would start to go away. And then, boom, just like that, my acne would reappear. The pain would reappear. The bleeding would reappear. Just everything would go back downhill. And it was to a point where I didn't even feel like I was living a normal life anymore. And so I talked to my husband about it, and I said, I'm having all these problems with the IUD. And he said, well, what is your next option? Do you have another option to go to? And I said, I honestly don't know. I just want to get the IUD taken out and just be off of birth control for a little bit and let my body regulate and let my body get back to some semblance of normal before I even think about trying another birth control, since I already had trouble with a previous birth control, which was the shot. And so he said, okay, that's fine. If that's what you think you need to do, then go ahead and do it. So I tried to schedule an appointment with my actual doctor that put my IUD in, which she was booked like 2 months out. And I was like, there's no way I'm waiting 2 months. There's no way. So I called every doctor in my whole area and the areas around me, and almost every one of them was booked for, a month out to 2 months out. Some weren't even accepting new patients. And I was just like, you've got to be kidding me, because there's no way I can wait this long. I finally called one doctor's office, and they told me that their certified nurse midwife could remove my IUD, which I wasn't sure my insurance covered, because when I was initially pregnant with my son, they did not cover midwives, because midwife was actually what I wanted for the birth of my son instead of an OBGYN. And they told me, we don't cover that. We cover your doctors, but we do not cover midwives. And so I called my insurance up and I said, hey, do you guys, cover this woman? And they said, yes, we do. And so I went ahead and made my appointment with her. And the IUD removal was literally just simple, easy. It was not painful at all, which I was really surprised. By the time she said it was out, I didn't even know she started pulling it out, honestly. So that part went really well. And as soon as she removed it, it was kind of like I was empty inside, if that makes any sense. The whole time I had the IUD, I kind of felt bloated a little bit, but it wasn't anything bad. It was something I kind of got used to. But as soon as the IUD was out, I could literally feel that there was nothing there anymore. And so she said, you might expect some bleeding to come, and you might expect, your moods to get a little crazy, for you to hit kind of just an exhaustion crash of your hormones trying to balance back out. That's totally normal, but everything should be back, within about 3 months. Your hormones should be all back to normal. Your cycle should be starting to regulate again, since you were very regular before. So I said, okay, cool, works for me. And one of the other reasons I really wanted to get it out was to prove to the doctors that all these problems were not created from other problems, that they were all stemming to the birth control, because I never had these problems prior to my son or right after I had my son, which I figured, if I was going to have these problems, they would have popped up in that first 6 to 8 weeks before I did get on the birth control. And so, now believe it or not, I was right. I got the IUD removed, and everything just started going back to normal. Within the rest of that day, all the pain that I was having in my cervix area and my uterus area was completely gone. And so that was just a big relief for me. And now I am about a week and a half from having my IUD removed, and my moods are starting to get back to normal. I've already got my first cycle, which is normal, like how it was before I had my son. And I'm just really enjoying, my life getting back to some semblance of normal. So that was my story about what happened with my Mirena IUD and why I decided to get it removed. I would like you guys to leave a comment down below and let me know, did you guys have the same or similar experience with the Mirena? What type of side effects have you seen from the Mirena? Do you not have any side effects? Does the Mirena work for you? And just leave a brief description or a detailed description of what you think about the Mirena if you have it, or any type of other IUD, and tell me your experiences with those. Thank you. Please subscribe and like this video. Bye.